So welcome back, everyone. This is the third part of the series in the second paper that we're going to be talking to. As I said previously, Laurie's actually produced far more than what we've spoken to date. But the Epiphyte forest, I just thought, really encapsulated so much of the excellent work that the landscape team, led by Lawrie and empowered by John Truscott, brought to bear. And Lawrie, to your left, as you're sitting looking at the camera, is a glass sphere. And behind me is one of the very rare photos, and I thank you so much for taking an excellent photo, of the Artbuster piece, which was, the Woodgetters series, I understood it was called. And anyway, so coming back to your photo, your background, those glass spheres, I mean, A, who thought of the concept of it? B, where the devil did you get them made? And lastly, what the devil went into them?
Okay, right. Well, it was one of those things that we have some very rare and endangered plants in our rainforest that are very spectacular. And I wanted to incorporate those into the epiphyte forest. And because of where they grow in the rainforest, they're very sensitive to wind conditions, moisture, and even light. And so that meant that they had to have basically their own little greenhouse or glass house. And they're quite large. The plants I'm talking about are tassel ferns, and they weep down. They're very beautiful. And there's some very rare orchids and things that we had in there too. So, yeah, when you're working on something like Expo, it's great. The world is your oyster, I suppose. And so inquiries were made about how we could find some glass spheres or something. We didn't quite know to start with. But anyway, we found that there was a manufacturer in Japan who made these glass spheres. For whatever reason they were used there, I'm not sure. But they were perfect for what we wanted. And so we ordered 3 of those, and they were 2 meters in diameter, these glass spheres. They weighed quite a lot because they were quite thick, and so they were brought out from Japan, and we had special locations for them, so that, as you can see behind me there, that they were at a level where you could actually look in and see these beautiful plants that were on display. And it was interesting, really, because there's other photos that I have when we were installing them. Being a 2-meter sphere of glass, the chaps from the nurseries who were installing it all had to get inside and arrange the plants attractively in the sphere. And so it was amazing to see this big glass bubble with this guy in the middle with a tassel fern and so on. So that was the story behind them. So they were really successful, and orchids, of course, the rare orchids that we had in there, they flower at specific times during the year, and so we'd chosen the ones that flower in the different months of Expo, and so that they were changed around from time to time. The tassel ferns stayed there the whole time because they don't change seasonally, but the special orchids were changed appropriately once they'd spent their flowers, and we put new ones in. So it was an important part, and just like the timber getters behind you, just an extra piece of interest for people because they could see and relate to the rainforest in the way that we wanted them to do that. And I really like the fact that we had the timber getters in behind you there with the chainsaw sawing down the rainforest, and then there was another one of the poles for chopping down the rainforest. So
there's a very sad story behind the man chopping down the rainforest, because that for many years was actually in Queen Street near Post Office Square, right, and it was in a little laneway adjacent to the NBA Heritage List Bank on the corner of Upper Edward Street and Queen Street. And one of the property developers acquired from the NBA Bank the heritage listed building and reimagined and totally restored the building, and the timber getter disappeared in the process. And it was just such a crying shame because it was a beautiful piece. And, you know, unfortunately, the collection that the Brisbane City Council had, its original collection, which was about 16 pieces, they all disappeared. And that one was one of the last ones to disappear. That one actually did disappear in the literal sense of the words. The others suffered lightning strikes, sun, UV radiation breakdown, you name it. A sad outcome befell them until Lord Mayor Graham Quirk came on the scene, and then we started to reacquire from the public via donation and then reimagine certain other aspects of the Art Buster collections that were in existence. So, but Lawrie, that was an absolutely fascinating story. I love the way this series is coming together. I'm hoping you're enjoying it. I know that Sir Frank Moore certainly did. He made a specific comment after watching the YouTubes. So, you know, I'm really grateful for you taking the time out of your busy planting day. And just as a matter of curiosity, orchids, I know, people will be surprised to hear this, but Brisbane, Queensland actually has one of the world's best orchid annual shows on, and it's out at the Brisbane Botanical Gardens, and it is a sight to behold some of those orchids out there when they go on display. That's right. So that when the new Victoria Park is launched and in full bloom, if I can make that pun, we'll see all of that expertise come to the fore. Again, Lawrie, thank you so much, and good morning, everyone.